And I just don't have any complaints about this device as of yet. As of yet. The Vivo X Fold so far has been a treat to use. As I'm familiarizing myself with this device, I have noticed a few things that you might want to know. Let's do this!
Spectacular gadgets.
I am still very impressed with this piece of tech, and not much has changed on my feelings since the unboxing. But there are a few things that I have noticed after diving a bit deeper into the device. Normally, when I get a device, I set it up almost exactly like my previous device, with app placement, launcher, and other settings. Doing so on this device was a bit more involved than most of my setups have ever been. I was coming from a Samsung device, which uses One UI, and going to the X Fold, which uses Origin OS. The first thing that was a must for me was to get a launcher that I like. So I decided to go with the Microsoft launcher. As you know, sometimes it's not as easy as just throwing a launcher on imports because the system won't keep it as a default. Well, that was the first little snag I ran into, was getting the launcher to stay put. You will have to go into settings and set your launcher of choice as the default. Once in settings, scroll down to the apps and permissions section. Tap on permissions, then scroll all the way to the bottom and tap on default app settings. Tap on home screen and select the launcher you want to use. Before you do that, you may need to set up your Vivo account and toggle on the switch to be able to replace the system launcher. With that being said, I am sure I have turned a few people off from wanting this device. And like I said, if you are used to the Samsungs and Pixels and Motorola's where you can just throw your SIM in and go, it's not exactly like that with my experience. And before you ask, no, this isn't my first import. I was big into Huawei before the whole lack of Google services was a thing. And I've had my fair share of Xiaomi devices as well. The next speed bump was finding the right text messaging app for this device. I had to switch from the default messaging app on the Vivo because the MMS size was restricted and I cannot send more than one photo at a time. Now I know I could have probably used a third-party app to compress the size, but I'm just not that patient. Ike from Ike's Tech suggested using Google Photos, which is a really nice workaround, but it wasn't for me. I just want to be able to take a photo and just send it like I'm used to. So I tried the next messaging app suggested by Gadget Goddess, where she was using Textra, but for some reason, I wasn't getting notifications, even though I went through settings and gave the app permissions. I tried several more messaging apps as the days went by, and finally, I ended up with Next SMS. At least this way, I could send photos without any issues, and I was getting notifications. I was getting notifications, but getting them at a delayed rate. Then a day or so later, that app wouldn't notify me until I actually opened up the app, and at that time, it's pointless. So this was an annoyance to me, but I rolled with the punches. The delay in time it took to receive messages was a little more than not my cup of tea, especially when you're waiting for those authorization codes when trying to log in to certain websites. I found this also annoying when not getting notified when my security cameras were going off. Emails also came in a bit slower than my other devices. Another thing I noticed was sometimes the screen would not accept my touches, like it was frozen, so sometimes I would clear the background processes. That would work, or I would just have to restart it. There have also been times where an app was pulled up only on half of the screen, and no matter if I opened or closed it, it would be stuck like that until I closed all apps in the background. I also received a comment that one viewer really enjoys this device, but not being able to use Android Auto was a big issue for them. I have not had a chance to even try it out, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. The things I like about this device is the look and feel. It is a bit heavier than the Fold, but it's just a great looking package altogether. This is the very first device I have not put a case on. And for someone like me, that's huge. I love the cameras on the device because it does take some pretty decent photos. Way better than the Fold 3 in my opinion. I love the outside and inside display, and the speakers are great sounding. Inside of it, and as you see, it's still a really slim profile. You see the cards pop up, no issues. I have about 5 cards in. I wasn't able to fit the 6, but I do have extra places to put my other cards or discount cards or whatever you have it. You do have enough space to get a good amount of cards in there. I have my driver's license in there. Also want to add a little bit of cash so you guys can see what that looks like. The battery life on the device is ridiculously amazing. It doesn't start losing a percentage right when I pull it off the charger like most of my Samsung devices do. I love how fast the charging is as well. I am very confident when I'm out all day with the X Fold because of its battery's capability. Well, with all that being said, I have actually decided to go back to my Samsung S22 Ultra over the Vivo X Fold at this time. The hoops that I had to jump through for certain tasks that I do in my everyday life took precedence over having something new. I like being able to use Samsung Pay and link to Windows and also be able to use my device near water without possibly damaging it. I am not taking anything away from the X Fold, it's just at this time, it doesn't check some of my important boxes. Remember, this is just my experience with the device. You have many other people who have nothing but positive things to say about their experience. Keep in mind that I do have the Chinese version of this device because at the time of my purchase, there was no global one available. At the end of the day, you have to pick the device that works for you and your needs. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to chill with me as we go through this journey. And until next time, everyone, I want you all to have a spectacular day. Later.